don't have an LCAP. What we're trying to do is develop an LCAP, so
Right.
there is no existing LCAP. And I don't even think the greenhouse gas audit has been completed because, sorry, I have to update my parking meter. Because I don't think we've gotten the electricity data. So I don't even think that we have that, and so is there anything existing on a website? No.
So where would I find something that I could be reading?
I'm sorry, I can't hear
Where
you.
would I find something that I could be reading to make myself feel more conversant with it? Okay.
I mean, there are LCAPs that are out there, so you could just do a Google for local climate action plan and look for, but set.
Yeah, Jenny Talkin had put together that
Okay.
spreadsheet that had links, right, to many other LCAPs
What
that are
month
out
was
there.
that?
Mine are specific to some mid-sized cities that have waterfronts in the Great Lakes in large parts. So just so you know, I have narrowed to that, so you may not want to limit yourself to cities between 50 and 200,000 people with waterfronts, but that was the majority of the plans that I reviewed.
So did you send it to us, or did Jackie?
I
Check.
sent it to you, but Jenny created the document and it has many links
So, I mean,
and look at examples.
one thing one action item we could have before the next meeting is somebody could be in charge of kind of creating a PowerPoint or some kind of like talking points on what the Environmental Advisory Council is, the P4P, local climate action plan, and what we see as kind of future directions without having necessarily in 4 months we're going to do this, and like without having specific target, SMART goals as we call them, time bound and all that, measurable as to exactly what we're going to do. So that could maybe be something that if somebody could put together before the next month that we could review, and then we could start those conversations. Then we could look after having that put together and we all look at it and understand it, then we could assign people and say, okay, who wants to go to the city council? Who wants to go talk to, I don't know, the planning commission? And then we could assign.
Even the Historic Review Commission is a good place to go because there's a lot of locations in terms of historic sites, environmental issues.
The urban forest committee.
Yeah, there's a lot of committees that should be intersecting, so.
Do you want to do, one person doesn't have to put the whole thing together. Do you want to do the P part?
No, I think it's better if it's one. No offense. I just think it helps to streamline it, and it helps to be a common language. Yeah.
You said, what is an EAC, the P4P, and the LCAP, but we already did we did the training with the Conserve.
Yeah.
So we have that PowerPoint and that introductory to the EAC that maybe we need to resend it out and have a refresher, but it's very helpful.
No, I just meant for us when we're not going to go through that whole PowerPoint when we talk to the city council. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, you
Not for us to,
as a slide deck, as a presentation for.
that each one of us could use if we were talking to the city council or the planning commission or something like that. But it would be short, and maybe a slide deck isn't appropriate. Maybe it's better just to have it talking points,
Well,
like a
but
document.
Before we go down that route, wouldn't it be helpful to look through some of these LCAPs and find out, I'm just reading through some of them to understand what their focus was. I mean, when you look at the chart that Jenny put together, they had a series of priorities.
Yeah.
And then that became obviously the priorities probably of the municipality. So to me,
So-
that was very helpful in looking through some of that.
And I think some of us have.
Yeah.
And so maybe whoever is putting together the bullet point talking point, and then other people in the council can be reviewing LCAPs, so that when we get together, you know what I'm saying? I feel like we're spinning our wheels a little bit, and I'm trying to make sure that we start moving forward. I'm just gonna be honest, like, I've looked at LCAPs, like, I don't need a month to look at LCAPs again, right? Yes, I understand, and so, you know, but that's where, like, making sure though that we're moving forward at the same time. So if we have talking points that we're looking at the next, like, so I'm just trying to go off of what's on the agenda. We're currently on action items for LCAP priorities, and so one action item could be for somebody to develop talking points so that we review those at the next meeting, and at the next meeting, people are assigned groups that they use those talking points to go talk to these groups.
So it
And
wouldn't-
another action item could be for people to review LCAPs if they have not already.
So, since you are on the advisory committee for the P4P, and we're not putting together a PowerPoint, maybe you could do the talking points for the P4P?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with putting together talking points for us when we go
I would
out.
suggest maybe if we're gonna go to a specific kind of group, like a planning commission, that our talking points might include some specific ideas that relate to their primary purposes. That way they kind of see how it relates to them. And
And
that would require looking at how other municipalities have interacted with planning commissions to address LCAP concerns.
I guess what I'm thinking, I agree with your point. If we have a skeletal structure, then each person, once they're assigned a group, can augment that, but at least then we have a common skeleton.
Yeah, and what I'm thinking, like, let's say
Yeah.
I wanted to meet with the parks people, you know, I'd look at LCAPs to see how park departments were being involved in climate action planning stuff, so that when I go to talk to the parks people, I can say, well, here's an example of what they did in Cleveland, you know.
Yeah.
This time Parks is under Public Works. There is no Parks Department that I know
I think he was just using that as an example.
of.
Yeah, just, you know, and.
Maybe
that-
the Urban Tree Committee or something.
So
Urban
I'm thinking
Forestry,
it
yes.
might help if we, maybe today, we could each pick, okay, what group do you want to go present this to, so that when we begin to look at LCAPs, we kind of have
Have that
a
already in mind.
specific idea in mind, instead of everything, you know?
Okay, and so what are some groups that we want to go talk to? City Council has been mentioned, Planning Commission has
Zoning
been
Hearings
mentioned.
Board.
Huh?
Zoning Hearings Board.
Zoning and Hearings Board?
No, it's the Zoning Hearings Board.
Oh, the zoning. Oh.
And then Public Works, I guess, that would-
You could be in charge of that one.
Yeah, you used to be in charge of that.
Okay, that's why you know it so
does
well.
Public Works include streets and parks?
Yes.
And- Okay.
Yeah,
There are bureaus, but
Historic Review Commission would be another one that I think would be.
What's the last one you said?
Historic Review Commission, there's also the Urban Forest Commission,
committee. So some of
Those are the
those are internal departments, and some of those are outside groups.
And I would not suggest zoning actually at this moment. No, because the zoning hearing board is a board that upholds the zoning code. The planning commission is the one that makes amendments to the code. So you don't, I would not advise going to the, right, would you?
Well, yeah, I mean, you're correct. The zoning hearing board, being quasi-judicial, acts outside the city, so, I mean, really, all they do is determine whether or not variance or special exception,
Yeah.
or
you were gonna say something,
challenge
Jim?
the determination of the zoning officer.
I was just gonna say, I spoke to the redevelopment.
Can you stand up so that Pat could hear you?
I think you might need to come to the
I don't know
microphone.
if this is helpful, but there are a number of groups I went to talk about the EAC.
I don't think we're
before.
on.
Oh, good.
That included the redevelopment authority.
Thanks, Mayor Schember.
I went to EMTA, the Sewer Authority, Erie Water Works, the Housing Authority, the Redevelopment Authority, the Zoning Hearing Board, the Urban Forest Committee, and the Planning Commission. I know some of those are quasi-city or independent, but just to give some context.
I wonder if it's worth hitting up all of those places again, to say, okay, so, I mean, how many years ago was that you spoke to them? 2? Yeah, so Jenny spoke to you 2 years ago.
We're
We
here.
actually exist.
Most of them would
Yeah.
go away, Andy, but they may have
Yeah.
just no.
Yeah, so what I'm thinking, it might be good to hit those same places again, even though you've hit them, and say, the EAC now exists, this is what's happened. Yeah. So City Council, Public Works, Historic Review Committee, Urban Forestry, Planning Commission were all on those. Was there anybody else? Oh, Erie Water Works, redevelopment.
The Sewer Authority,
Sewer.
Housing.
Redevelopment Authority, and Mayor Schember actually allowed Sarah Gilman and I to do a joint presentation to the department heads at the city, so it wasn't just Public Works, it was
Oh,
department heads.
you think you could do that again for us? Yeah?
It sounds to me like we've got enough entities for maybe each of us to take 2 of them. I made a preliminary list here.
Have you gotten it? You
I
got it
don't
all
know.
down?
I've got City Council, Planning Commission, Public Works, Historic Review, Urban Forest, Redevelopment Authority, EMTA, Sewer Authority, Water Authority. Am I missing?
Housing.
Housing.
So the Housing Authority is not a city entity, nor is it the only one dealing with housing. Just-
Isn't the City of Erie Housing Authority?
Is there a?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hayes.
Hayes,
Yeah.
yeah.
'Cause-
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Okay.
So that's 10.
So who wants to, do we just start taking volunteers?
I'll take the Housing Authority. I have a
Planning,
connection.
Awesome.
I'll take the Planning Commission.
no, I'll take the planning commission.
Oh, okay, now we're gonna do rock, paper, scissors.
No, if he wants it, let him have it.
Yeah, it used to be.
I'll
I
do
get-
Public Works.
I'll do EMTA.
Thank you.
I'll take Urban Forest.
Oh, I was gonna take that one.
Did you want it?
No, it's all right. They just meet right after Plua, so it was easy.
I'll do Water Authority too. I like water stuff.
You like water stuff? All
Or
right.
maybe I want sewers. I don't know.
I'll take the department heads.
I can do the historic review.
Cool.
What's left?
City council.
I think Aaron should be
Well, I
back.
could do that as chair, it wouldn't hurt.
What was that?
I could do that, being the chair, it wouldn't hurt for me to
Sure.
be the one.
Redevelopment
So what
Authority,
I
did somebody
pick.
take that?
I feel like, did somebody take redevelopment authority?
So is that the Erie one or the Erie County one, or are there
The
two
city
different
council?
ones? No, redevelopment authority.
Oh.
That's the city.
I would assume the city.
Redevelopment Authority.
This could be the city.
What was
City.
the other thing I took?
You took city council and, I don't know.
Did you get the
Are
other
you
one I
keeping
took,
track,
Michael?
secretary?
I just have, I know you did say another one, but I didn't catch it. I had
Yes.
City
Planning
Council.
Commission, but
And
then
then he
Then
took
Bat
that. Oh, I
took
said
it.
EMTA.
EMTA.
Oh, yeah, I've got you down for that.
Yeah, they
Yep.
love me over there.
I've got Matt down for Planning Commission,
And,
Robert down for Historic Review, Sister Pat down for Urban Forests and Housing Authority. We don't have anybody down for sewer or redevelopment.
Well, you need another one. Matt.
well, sewer would be the department heads, right? Would that be the
No.
same? No?
Yeah, sewer's in a separate authority.
No. Sewer's not.
Sewer's not,
Well,
okay.
they have an authority, which is
That's Basil.
they're,
That's it.
they're people,
Oh,
they're
that's the one I
appointed.
was on before. Then I had to
Sewer
step
authority
down.
has appointed members.
Yeah,
Some of the things are appointed members, like the planning commission, and some of them are staff related functions.
so the sewer authority is missing, and who else?
Redevelopment Authority.
Well, we got
We got more people.
I'll do-
Aaron.
How about somebody who's not
I'll
here?
do the
being-
redevelopment authority
Okay.
and the
Should we just
department
give one
heads.
to Aaron?
And then, yeah, Aaron gets assigned whatever is left.
Sewer Authority.
That's what happens when you're not here,
Yeah,
man.
there you go. That'll teach you.
Sewer, going down there is fascinating. fascinating.
Oh, I love
facility,
wastewater treatment
yeah.
plants.
Kids love it.
It's a great place to bird.
It's recorded.
We're not online, right? We are online?
We are online.
Oh, because
We're
I,
live now.
oh, because I don't see anything. We're on Facebook or what?
We're on YouTube.
YouTube. Okay, so have we got that one squared away?
All right,
Are there
so,
any more LCAP priorities we want to take up today?
so what I have heard, I'll just reiterate and see if we're all in agreement, is that our action items for LCAP are that I'll create a skeleton of talking points that we'll review. So I'll send it to Jackie.
And I'll do the LCAP part of it. I mean,
Okay.
I can do the talking points. I'll rely on some of you also to make sure I'm hitting them, but I'll take that on and share that with the group.
Okay.
Great.
So we'll have talking points
Unless one
and
of
then.
you wants to take it. It didn't sound like it.
And then as a council, we're each gonna we're gonna review LCAPs with the groups that we're gonna be talking to in mind, but we won't be talking to them until after our next meeting.
Right.
Are we all in agreement on that? Does that sound like a reasonable?
At the next meeting, yeah,
Homework?
I'm supposed to be sitting
Oh.
with thunderstorm. At the next meeting, would we then look at the talking points, go through how we're going to present, and then from there, I can bring a schedule of all the boards,
Yeah.
commissions, and council, because, they only meet once a month typically, so you'll have to kind of schedule it out. You have to get onto their agenda. I mean, it's a bit of a process. Usually the agenda is sent out a week in advance. And so all of that has to be taken care of and coordinated among all these groups.
Do we want to
So-
do the port too?
And each one of these has a staff lead, which is helpful.
Yeah, so if you can bring that to the next
Sure.
meeting.
Yep,
Yeah.
schedules and then point of contact.
Yeah,
Sure.
and so we'll review all of that at the next meeting.
Will the board member be responsible for sending out an email to the point of contact?
I think so.
Yeah,
Okay.
because otherwise
Thank
it'll
you.
get too.
You mean the EAC member?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Yeah.
So you would be responsible for contacting
right.
Heather Olson. She's a historic preservation planner, telling her you'd like to be on the next agenda, and then she would put you on the agenda, and you would receive the agenda and the time and when to be there. That's great. Okay.
I thought we weren't going to do that until after the next meeting.
No, she's gonna bring them to the next meeting and then we'll
Bring the list of people.
bring the
Right.
list at the next meeting, and then, yes, we will
Right.
meet after the
Right,
next
because the
meeting.
EMTA, I think, met this past Monday.
Yeah. And like historic review, I know meets next week, so you're gonna be.
Right.
It's gonna be a couple months before
Right.
you might hit everybody on
Right.
your list. Yeah.
Okay,
That's fine. I'll
Okay.
bring that.
okay. So do we have any more about the LCAP?
Do we
priority?
feel good about our action items for the LCAP?
Sure. We've got tasks ahead of us.
And
We
I
have homework.
I can send, what I think, I need to do this too, is maybe I can find some really good resources around the LCAP, what they, and send them out to you all. And I know I've sent,
Is this a state mandated thing or federal?
I don't think it's mandated at all. Is it mandated?
Somebody must
Yes, I
have,
think it is.
No, I don't think so.
I think each municipality is supposed to have a climate action plan. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
so, but who said?
In order
who-
to
who-
get-
Shaking no. She's shaking her head.
In order to go after money, though.
It's totally at the discretion of the municipality. Sam's right, that some federal and state programs require that you approve the cap planning documents, so it helps you with funding later. But Freddie, you're thinking of a voluntary program the city participated in with DEP and ETSA. That was state funded, but not.
However, the administration, the mayor, made this a priority, so I don't know if the LCAP was stated in the ordinance, and I can't remember that the LCAP was a priority, but I know that this advisory group was a priority in the ordinance.
Okay, so in item C, there's two things going on. One was I asked, and she graciously agreed to run a discussion about priorities, but I would like to first talk about two things that I have, because they do fit in with single-use plastics.
Okay, we have one left over from the last meeting too, and that was Mike and fallen trees.
But isn't it really the Urban Forest Committee?
Well, but that's who we would interact with on that priority.
Okay, okay. All right, so, well, let's not lose that. So, there's two ideas I have been, one of them cooking for since 2017, and one more recently. But as we all know, there's a lot of plastic bottles that show up in general, but especially when we have Ribfest, Celebrate Erie, all of 8 Great Tuesdays, all of the events. And in 2017, when I was at the Newport Folk Festival, Clean Canteen had this setup where, and they had several of them, there were like 5 spigots and you could fill your water bottle. And of course, they could sell you a water bottle. They didn't give water bottles away. And I thought, gee, that's a great thing. And so I had been talking to the Water Authority, and they said, oh yeah, we've been thinking about that. And I talked to Craig about that a couple of times, and they have been thinking about it. That's really mostly all they have done, so it's not like they're ready to jump. But they could, so I think $70,000 is what the unit is that that you'd haul the water with it. And then there's another one where you'd hook up to local potable water, and that's quite a bit less. So there's having the unit, having the setup, staffing it, making sure the water's clean and everything. But my goal, and I also talked to Michelle Jaggi from the Council of Governments to find out, because they do joint bidding on stuff. Only of the port and the Erie Downtown Partnership and the city, only the city is a member of the COG. So only the city could potentially participate in their bidding system. But my interest is in getting you guys, and I could show you the pictures of it, but getting your interest, and if we have a list of priorities or a plan. My experience with funding and getting things done is if something's on a plan, whoever it is that's going to do it could say, it's on the plan. And it helps to have something on the plan. So maybe once we have our priorities, we're going to have a plan of priorities we want to have. But this is one of the things, because if we have it on our plan, it could help the Water Authority or the Downtown Partnership or even the city go after funding for something like this.
So at this point, the Water Authority doesn't have the ability to supply a water station.
No.
I think it would be great if we could find, some group that would be willing to do that sort of at a trial basis, just for people to see, how that happens. And you must be able to hook up to city water
You
in
can.
some way.
That's one of the models.
Yeah.
That's one of
And that would be fantastic.
because we have so many plastic bottles from Celebrate Erie and Ribfest and all of those things, 8 Great Tuesdays. So that's one of the things. The other one was, some of you know, I was away for a month and I was at a street market, and just about all the vendors had these similar cardboardy sort of food containers. I think I sent you pictures of them. And there was a circular one for soup. And I didn't get around to asking anybody in charge, did you guys all buy them together or something? But that's another thing, because a lot of the vendors we have use styrofoam, which is the worst, but not the only bad one out there. And Give a Crepe uses that kind of container, and she pays more money for it. So the other thing I found out from Michelle Jackie is there's this program called CoStars, which is a state purchasing program, and the city is a member. And there is actually a food container company that is on there. I wasn't thrilled about their ecological containers compared to what I saw at this street market. But, so those are two things that we could help. Like I said, if it's on a plan, if it helps to have something on a plan to get it done. It helps to have it on a plan to get money. And so if we have a plan of our secondary or our whole priority list, and we put those things on the plan, then that gives them a leg up on getting approved and funding. But those are my two ideas.
Yeah, but sometimes it takes so long to get something on a plan that the opportunity has gone by. We do have some local vendors who are already using sustainable containers.
Mm-hmm.
It might be a good idea to just kind of survey. About 4 or 5 years ago now, I had a group of kids who were worried about single-use plastic, so we actually made up a little survey and visited all the eating places in our neighborhood to find out who was using what and why they were using it. And almost everybody was using plastic. And a lot of them, because they were a franchise, didn't have a lot of options to go somewhere different. But since that time, a few of them, even though like one is Tim Hortons, they have moved to, brown bags and cardboard for most of their things. And so it might be, something that we want to think about in terms of like surveying businesses, finding out, who's using what and what was the difference in cost, because those were kind of the things that they asked it, and who are they working with, and then recommending that other vendors do the same thing.
For the events, though, you do need a permit.
And the city can control that.
And then I don't know about 8 Great Tuesdays and, beer, what's the one that's coming up? The one at
Ale Trail?
the one at the port, the amphitheater there. They always have a lot of food
But
trucks.
that's why
I don't know
the
if
port, the port
Do
is,
they require a vendor license when coming to a 8 Great Tuesday event? I don't know that, but I know at the city, we require all vendors to get a vendor license. So,
Okay, can you require them to use,
I mean, that's something we can research.
and even if in the beginning you can't require them to use
could
sustainable
incentivize
food, you could request it.
well, that's
Like initially.
That's why I was curious about the purchasing angle. And I think that, the one version would be that, an entity purchased and then people could get from the entity. Or the other one is, I think some of the vendors could actually purchase through the CoStars. That's what she said about the cog.
CoStars is, I'm not sure what she means. I've used CoStars before. That's a mechanism where you don't.
Have to bid.
Right, but that's, if there's only one, yeah.
Well, that's the one she showed me. There might be another one, but, they didn't have,
It's a government-run.
nonprofits can be
You have to
members.
pay into, right, but you pay.
No,
into-
you don't have to pay to
No,
be in
we
CoStars.
don't pay, but I believe that you have to pay in if you want to be listed as a vendor or a service provider.
I was just talking with Erie Fence, who is on CoStars. They said it took them months to go through the process, and
Yeah.
it was, so I don't know if they had to pay, but it was definitely a process. It's
So
not
they're on
necessarily
CoStars.
easy. Erie Fences, and so Barron was able to avoid having to get additional bids for a fence because they're CoStars, and so it's a way of avoiding the bids. But I don't know that it's going to help in the way that you're thinking it's going to help. It's not like where they're going to buy a lot of containers and then as a collective, and then so that you can get a better deal, to make it easier then for, Bakery on Fifth to purchase more ecological containers, right? Because you've got this group pricing. It's not, I don't think it's gonna help in the way that you think CoStarz is gonna help.
Well, it'd be nice if there was some way to get to that point, either, that there was some entity, a business or the city or downtown partnership that wanted to, to
I have a business idea, but I don't have the financing to make it happen. So, I mean, so I want to create a business that solves this problem. However, making the jump into becoming a small business owner was not.
But you got
It's too
the
scary.
thoughts laid out. And, okay, anyway, so that's my idea. I'd love to see those two ideas.
Freda, if you don't mind, you touched on adding, like when you have something on a plan that makes it, more concrete. And I shouldn't assume, but I know the Erie Refocus Comprehensive Plan that was adopted in 2012, one of the elements of all comprehensive plans is to have an environmental component. So I would think that if, that's a priority for the township, I'm sorry, for the city, we're in a city right now, third class, then we could potentially amend the comprehensive plan to add the LCAP as a component to the comprehensive plan, which since it's implementable, then we have something real in a implementable plan, which goes through the planning commission, so.
So, but these things here wouldn't be part of the LCAP? or
They
would
could
they?
be.
Yes.
Could be,
Oh,
okay.
there is absolutely a very intimate connection between plastic and climate.
Okay.
Very intimate.
All right, I didn't, I wasn't, I wasn't.
Currently, the comprehensive plan does not touch on that component, actually.
I thought there was, I thought there was like a little,
Maybe a very small section.
there's like a little check, like, hey,
Yeah.
we talked about it, but not in depth.
Right, so
So-
it's not very comprehensive.
No.
In terms of, or detailed, yeah.
But I mean, I would assume that after the LCAP's done, you don't want it just to be one of those books that sit on a shelf that nobody does anything to do with it,
No, we
do
want
with
money.
it. So then, amending the comprehensive plan to add that as a component to the implementable plan would, I think, be advisable.
Okay, so did you have any kind of game plan on, we've got 20 minutes left.
Yeah, I see that. I mean, I was going to remind everybody, kind of what we had selected as our ranked our priorities, and you'd already mentioned that single-use plastics, as well as was tied technically with the LCAP, and litter mitigation was in the second ranking, like the second tier of tied items. And those certainly are tied together. And so, I mean, under both of these, the food containers and the water distributions, they both touch on single-use plastics and litter mitigation. So the question is, what do we want to do about these? And so one part is making sure that they're incorporated into the LCAP, and then making sure that the LCAP is brought into the comprehensive plan for the city. Is that what I just heard?
I've
Yeah,
not
that's
heard,
what I would
I've not
recommend.
ever heard that it was updated. But that doesn't mean it couldn't be, but, because,
Supposed to be updated every 5 years.
Well, 5 to 10.
5 to 10.
have we?
Counties required, municipalities it's encouraged.
Because we keep, having new plans, we got active dairy
Was it,
and
I'm sorry,
2016 it was adopted, the
I
comprehensive.
apologize.
16
So we're
and
not that
So-
far out.
It's been a while. so-
Yeah.
So we're close to maybe
Yeah.
that being, so, yeah.
21, yeah, we're
Yeah.
3 years that way, yeah.
So in terms of water distribution at events, it sounds like, so having somebody reach out to Erie Waterworks, and then maybe also, is there a possibility of creating, with regard to the vendor agreements, is there a way to,
You have to,
Who
those
did
are
we talk to? Yeah.
conversations, I would imagine, with the administration, with the, I don't know, his title, Rocco, is who.
Is he still there?
But, yeah, those would be conversations that we'd have to have.
I've been talking to the Water Authority a bunch, just so they know. It's kind of like, yeah, I know you've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about it for 7 years, talking about
I've
it.
never
So
seen a contract, vendor contract, maybe starting there, see what their existing contract has, if there are any contingencies or stipulations around it, which I'm sure there are.
one of the Water Authority's goals is they want to market their water. They want to brand their water. They want to have more people use their water.
Yeah. Yeah, go back to the tap instead of bottled water. So, I mean, I don't know what those, and then I added that, so fallen trees.
Yes,
I
Mike,
put
did you
that
do
this
anything on falling trees?
Yes, I looked into it. I looked into what different cities do to address dead trees on private property, and there aren't really any programs or good models out there of there being a pot of money that somebody could secure to provide low-income folks, a way to pay somebody to have big dead trees removed. But I honestly, I thought I do a lot of driving around in the city and keep my eye out for, I don't think it's a huge problem. In a way, I don't think it's an important enough priority to
But
take
we
up
need-
time right now. I think these other things seem more important to me. That my friend and neighbor in the city who had the big dead tree in their backyard paid somebody $850 to have it taken away, and I told her that was a bargain,
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would table it myself at this
for now.
point. Unless there's been a flood of complaints recently, that the city is dealing with a lot of complaints about fallen trees and things, but I don't know.
So is there kind of a collective agreement that maybe our secondary priority will be like kind of single-use plastics and litter mitigation?
Yeah, especially because it ties into Frida's.
Fred,
I think it's a
That
good
is-
example of
yeah.
something that we can wrap our heads around.
Can I go back to the water station for a minute?
Yeah?
Like Perry Square seems like that would be a good place to have a water fountain, except there aren't any.
well,
Is
there
that
is
because-
one.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, there
But
is one.
it's just, I mean, that's not gonna,
So I'm wondering, then, if there's one there, somebody must be taking care of it. Could there be a water station? It would be very nice to have a water station in Perry Square so that bikers and people that are there with their water bottles, like we have, we just put a new water fountain in at the Art House, and it's the type that where you can fill your water bottle also. So, can you scrape up some money at City Hall to, put one there, just so people begin to see that there are other ways
so
to
there
do this.
is one on the west side of Perry Square.
But with as a.
You
something
can
that
fill a water bottle.
Oh, you can? Where is it at?
But it's just a one at a,
It's close to the stage. I
yeah,
just
it's,
saw it.
it's to the south of
Okay,
the
I'll have to look
stage.
for it.
Yeah, it's to the south, and so that would be the east side, right? Oh, no, that
That's
is the
the
west
west.
side, yeah. So I just saw it because of the recovery walk this weekend, but there is a place, there's a water fountain and the water comes out way too powerfully. I scared my dog, but she was like, but there is also a place to fill a water bottle there. So
Oh, okay.
that is kind of a nice addition. I don't know
But,
when that was installed.
but if you were at Rib Fest and you were down where all the vendors are, you're not gonna walk over to that.
Well, it'd be nice to have a couple, but
Yeah.
at least if there's one there.
So,
Check
yeah,
it
so
out.
I guess the question is then, we have homework for the LCAP, do we want to, and so I think we've identified, I guess what the bullet point was to identify the secondary priorities, and so I think we have identified those. That right now it's single-use plastics and litter mitigation. And then the question is, do we want to have homework related to these?
Just wanted to make one
Yeah.
comment about the
Yeah.
litter mitigation, I'm sorry to interrupt
No,
you.
you're fine. You didn't.
I know that Neighborhood Resources, which you may not know much about Neighborhood Resources, because it's kind of a new branch of the planning department, They are a branch that's really trying to work on engagement strategies in the neighborhoods through Love Your Block, which you might have heard that about that program. It's really a grassroots small home repair program, as well as many other things that they're trying to work on and build at this moment. Primarily, though, the connection between city internal departments, resources, and the community. So one of the initiatives that they have going on this summer is neighborhood cleanups. And that's something that they want to continue to do with some of the funding. And so that might be a nice tie-in to, if we want to, in the short term, how do we do that with neighborhood resources? Where do we provide support, resources or bodies or whatever that may be? So just wanted to mention that. And I can get a schedule for you of that too, so for next time.
And who's the lead on that?
Gretchen Kerr, which is Aaron Kerr's wife.
And what entity is that?
So it's Planning and Neighborhood Resources, the Department of Planning and Neighborhood Resources. The neighborhood resource part of planning is just sort of evolving and building up. And Gretchen is her position is the team lead.
So now that we've identified secondary priorities, are there particular actions that we want to take before next month on those? So, I mean, one, you're going to bring to us some information about what Neighborhood Resources is doing and the cleanups, and which is great because litter begets litter. So if we can have a cleanup event, that can maybe help to decrease people seeing, oh, there's a bunch of litter there, so I can just trash it some more. It's okay.
And some of the reasoning for the neighborhood cleanups is to get people to start working together.
Yeah.
Like community engagement, get people
Yeah.
to know their neighbors, that type of thing. So there's a lot more around that cleanup, but
Thank you.
we could even produce resources to hand out to people on certain issues that that's what they're doing. They're going to provide maybe even pamphlets on swimming lessons, things like that really are important. So,
Are there other thoughts on actions that y'all want to see the EAC take on this secondary priority?
Related to the events where we want to reduce
Yeah.
single-use plastic, it'd be nice to get a list of what those events are and who are the organizers so that we can begin to get some details from them. How do you set up with your vendors, by what means do you control what
So
they
maybe
do and how they
talking to
do it?
Rocco, maybe having Rocco come to the next meeting
Yeah.
and ask him.
Well, there's city ones, and then there's the ones that Erie Downtown Partnership runs.
I think this council, being a city council, would only have the ability to suggest
Well, if the Erie-
implementation for the city.
But if Erie Downtown, I'm following on from you, but if they run something, say, in Perry Square, Mr. Mayor, or you, they would probably be operating under the auspices of the city.
I don't know. Is that true? I mean, she was saying that if like the Erie Downtown Authority Downtown Partnership, is running an event at Perry Square, would they be operating in Perry Square under the auspices of the city?
Yes, they have to get our approval to do it.
They have to get city approval. So
Right.
again, so that would be Rocco again. So I wonder if maybe we could have a conversation with Rocco about our secondary. Maybe could we invite Rocco to our next meeting to have a conversation to see what he thinks that maybe some things we could do?
Does the city still have the portable recycling containers? They were just a wire, you put a bag in them and you had a thing on top. There was a time when we were putting them out right next to a
trash
garbage can.
Yeah.
It really takes monitoring, and it takes people it takes somebody from the stage reminding people to be careful about recycling. But for a while, we were using them. I used to borrow them from the city when I was doing events, when I was still with, so that was a long time ago. But they were nice. They were collapsible stands. They were down in the basement here. And then you had bags that fit into them, and they had a plastic top that went over with the holes for recycling. So I don't know if those are still around and could be, you know, okay. Because there were a slew of them. They were like,
Sarah Peelman may have more insight
Yeah.
into that, and so
Yeah.
maybe we could invite her
was-
in addition to Rocco.
I
But
was,
recycling, I mean, I know you already know this, is not really a solution, but
No.
it is, I understand the point that
But
you're
at least
making,
it's
that
source reduction
it's
is the
something.
best one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're all in agreement on that,
So-
but I understand your point.
One time I was at some event and the plastic bags weren't there. And I tried, the plastic bags were missing, you know, the wire thing was there.
But not the
And I
bag.
was trying to, what's going on here? Somebody said, well, people take them. Because they're gonna recycle, or they'll sell the metal, or I don't know.
oh, yeah. Yeah, the aluminum would be
Yeah, I don't know what
It's
they
not
do with the rest of it.
valuable, but to some people it's valuable because it's that little extra bit of cash.
But, yeah.
So, okay, so that's what we're gonna, and we have like 6 minutes to talk about new business.
Is there
I
any new
think-
business?
I think we can move on from the secondary. You had two things, or there was two things listed under new business.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I had a question about the in-person training. I believe there's a cost associated with that, but if the city is a member of We Can Serve, we wouldn't have to pay.
Yeah, I was gonna look into that. Okay, I will do that.
So can you explain to us what the in-person?
I sent it out, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
you did?
Yeah, I sent it out, but
Sorry,
It's-
I missed
these
it.
are two training sessions
Okay.
from We Can Serve PA. I can resend it, I just
Oh,
wanted
yeah,
to
I
get
saw
it.
it. Sorry.
What's that?
Right now, I am like kind of glancing at emails and
Oh.
just focusing on a few because my teaching schedule is real heavy right now.
So you're saying you didn't
But I
read
saw
my
it,
email.
I saw it.
That's-
I saw your email.
Delicately.
I saw it was a conference, but I did not read about it.
That's okay, I'm happy to send it again, well, the virtual training protecting parks and open spaces in perpetuity, I thought that was, so we are in the process of picking a consultant for the open space, or the comprehensive recreation, parks, and open space plan. So I thought it might be a nice tie-in for this group to kind of get some training around parks and open spaces.
And that one I think is free.
So I sent that out, and I really didn't read through it thoroughly, but I can send it again. And that's a virtual training, and the other one was an in-person in, looks like Philadelphia. So, I'd love, so with the Historic Review Commission, we've been able to go out for grants at the state, because we're a certified local government, so it's a designation that we have, but we're able to get funding for training for the board. And I'd like to find out if there's capability, if we have the same ability to do that for you all, to have some money that we can use for travel, for training. So that's one of the things I was looking into.
But if the city was a member of We Can Serve, some of those
But you
trainings.
still have travel costs.
Oh, yeah.
To Philadelphia. I think that EAC Fall Gathering is like their main,
Thing.
their main.
Yeah, and that goes
one
around the
main
state, I
event.
think.
Yeah, their big event, so.
I attended the online one.
Yes, so I mean, that's why, I think I put that on there, just to put it on your radar for the next couple of months.
I
And
think
I
that-
may keep it on there.
I get the EAC newsletter, so that's where I found out about it.
Yeah, that's what I received too. I think I sent the newsletter out this time.
Oh, it's a Saturday. October
Is that
5th is a
Saturday?
Saturday. Huh.
That's more convenient maybe for some people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you get rejects from Mike Campbell whenever you send something out? Because do you have his right email?
Yes.
Earth Doc.
I do have it, I do, and I have been using that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I forget, but then I send it just to you. It's on my new feeds, and then Sam, you have a new.
I have a new
you're
email
gonna have a
address.
new email address too.
You can start using it now.
Yeah.
I'm monitoring 3 email accounts right now. It's great fun.
So one of those
Does everyone
email,
know about your?
I have a new job.
You have a new job.
Yeah. Thank you. Very excited. I get to stay. So that's why I didn't offer to be any type of a officer of this, because I knew that stuff was going down and I didn't know if I was going to still be here. So, but now I am, so y'all can start
She's
hitting
going to be
me
at
up.
Neptune.
Yeah, tell everybody.
She's the
Not
executive
everybody
director of
Oh.
Neptune Project.
I am the new director for Gannon University's Water Quality Initiative, Project Neptune.
All right.
Yeah. Congratulations.
It's very exciting. I get to stay. I'm not moving to Virginia.
Also, from what I read in the article, this is.
Oh my God, this is like a
done.
dream job.
Yeah.
This is like the marriage of everything that I've done in my entire life. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. And stuff that in the past I've been kind of criticized for is actually now part of my job, like advocacy.
Gannon has a boat.
They have a small vessel.
The
I want a
Environaut.
bigger boat.
That's a cool one.
I want a boat. Nobody wants to buy me a boat, but if anybody listening wants to buy me a boat,
Congratulations.
thank you.
okay, so nothing else is on the agenda.
I move to adjourn.
And I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Good meeting. Good meeting, yeah.